Welcome to the One Love, One Faith podcast, where we use the love of Christ and faith in His Word to navigate Christian living in the 21st century. Remember to follow us on social media at onelove_onefaith. Hey out there.
Hello, everyone.
My name is Camille.
And I'm India.
And this is the One Love, One Faith podcast.
Yidig.
Que lo que, mi gente? ¿Cómo estás? Well, guys, it is episode 75, capítulo 75. And what we're going to do is walk down memory lane just a little bit and go through some of the questions, some of the relationship questions that you guys have asked us over the past 18 months of the One Love, One Faith podcast.
Third question is, how do you deal with a jealous partner?
Ooh.
I don't like that.
You don't like jealous partners?
I don't like jealous partners. I don't like jealousy. I just think that it's just distasteful.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all.
Well, I think we should consult the manual first to simply say, okay, what does God's word say about jealousy? So I found a couple texts that I thought kind of just told us what jealousy does. So Proverbs 14 verse 30 says, "A heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy or jealousy rots the bones."
Right.
It's really not a healthy character trait at all.
Absolutely.
It eats away, literally. It eats away at you. It's very stressful to be jealous. And then 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4, so you know that infamous
my favorite
verse about love. It says right in there that, yes, love is patient and love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. So that's actually one of the traits that's not synonymous with love. And I wanted to say that sometimes jealousy, having someone feel jealous about your behavior or something that you do, does feel good sometimes. Okay, because it almost feels like love, but it's deceptive. But it almost feels like, oh, he loves me. He don't want me to do this. He don't want me to go there. I gotta go change my clothes. He don't like when I talk to other people. And yeah, it feels good that someone thinks that much of you, right? But it is not love. It is jealousy. It is separate, and it is not.
And it can be very scary. And it shouldn't be something that you just like glance over, be like, oh, he crazy.
Right. It can be scary because it can be a pre-indication of problems down the road.
Right.
When it becomes more serious and almost abusive, it's not just cute jealousy, right? Because there's a certain element.
There's levels.
Right. There's levels because there's a certain amount of jealousy where you might see someone. Okay, friends. So someone walks up to your man, a girl walks up to your man. You sitting across, maybe you're at the store, you're a couple feet away, and someone walks up to him and she's laughing and she rubs her arm down his, her hand down his arm. You're gonna be like, "Excuse me?"
I'm like, "Excuse me, miss?
Right.
You in my business? Don't do that."
Right. I mean, that's like a healthy kind of, hey, that's mine. Don't touch him like that. I mean, there's levels of jealousy, right? That's like some innocent, okay. Hey. You should feel that way about your partner. You want to be the closest person to them in all aspects. Okay. I got that.
So that's your little friend.
Right. Who is that? How you know her? Like, there's...
How you know her from?
There's different levels. So, there's that type of healthy, like, But you're not going to, like, stew about it all day or anything like that. Or confront him in an unhealthy way. But then there's jealousy.
There are some people out here that are extremely jealous. Want to know, share your location, where you at 24/7. Want to check your phone.
Right.
Like, you were supposed to be here home an hour ago. Where you been?
Right.
Right.
Or tries to create boundaries or, like, not just boundaries, but rules as to, you shouldn't do this. I don't ever want to see you alone with a guy. I never want to see you doing this with a girl. Like,
shouldn't have a male companion friend.
Right. You can feel I hope you can feel what's healthy and unhealthy.
And also, too, I think we need to stop normalizing the fact that, certain jealousy type of like movement or certain type of behaviors is love. Oh, that irritates me. Y'all go back and read 1 Corinthians 13:4. Please go back and do that. Because I think love. So many times that's misconstrued. Right? Oh, he loved me. Could he do that? He loved me.
Right. It's like, well, or is he struggling with his confidence? Or, this is actually unhealthy. Is it love or something else?
And, also, too, I think when the person actually asks this question, I wanted to kind of see, like, hey, is this something that this person realized that he is doing? Because I think a lot of times we are not mindful of our actions, are mindful of what internally who we are as individuals.
Right.
And so when you have acknowledged the fact that, hey, you are a jealous person, how are you going to work on this to make sure that your relationship is as healthy and as functional as it should be? Right.
Exactly.
You don't just see it and be like, yeah, I'm jealous, and so what you gonna do about it? Because now you messing up my groove.
As if that's the end. Like, I'm a jealous person, so don't do A, B, and C. It's like, wait a second.
That first of all, that's not a good trait.
Right, we need to talk about. We need to work on a little bit.
Right. So I think to having a discussion with your partner and talking about how his actions is either, or her actions is either hindering your relationship from moving forward or creating situations that may be unhealthy for your relationship.
Right. And so I have some tips that I think will help both sides. So let's separate the sides. So I have tips for overcoming jealousy if you are the jealous partner. So like you said, number one is recognizing that you have an issue with jealousy. And you have to find the source. Okay? The source of that might come from self-esteem or confidence issues. It might come from a learned behavior that you've learned that relationships are an unhealthy way you've learned relationships to be. Or it can come from something your partner is doing that you need to, number two, communicate with them.
Right.
So there needs to be a conversation. Be open and honest about it. Okay? It's not going to get better until you confront it. What are they doing that makes you feel this way? You should talk to them about it.
And I think also, too, I think it's important for us to do our self-evaluations to kind of pinpoint and connect those things that create all those unhealthy or negative behaviors. We have to start confronting all these things that can be not only detrimental to our relationships, but also our friendships.
Yes. Because a reason why you might be jealous is that trust is broken and you need to talk to that person. Maybe they did something in the past and now you're finding it difficult to trust, which makes you jealous when you view their interactions with other people. So you need to talk about that.
Right.
And I think the third tip is don't play games about it. Like, be mature about it. Because I know that sometimes we have like this tit for tat mentality. You're like, oh, you gonna do that with him?
Okay.
I got something for you. Watch this. And you try to make the other person experience the emotion that you're feeling. But that almost always just leads to misunderstandings and hurt.
And mistrust.
Makes it worse. Right. And more mistrust. So the best thing to do is first recognize it within yourself, what's going on, and then communicate with your partner about what's going on.
Right. And we cannot stress this enough about the healthy conversations that we should be having in our relationships. Cannot stress that enough.
Right.
We have to start having these conversations. Be open, not be defensive, because a lot of times people don't like to hear about themselves or some of the things that people notice about them. Extremely defensive when it comes to that. So if you have a partner or a relationship that you cannot be open and transparent about, that's an issue.
Red flag.
Colorblind is you?
It's a red flag.
No, facts though.
Right.
Facts.
And if you're the person who's experiencing the jealousy, so if you're the supporting partner, make sure you're available to discuss it with them when they're ready to communicate about it. Listen to how they feel. Don't just immediately jump to, to be so defensive. Don't immediately jump to that place. Communicate with them. And if necessary, if they're healthy, then help create with them a plan or boundaries to set in place to both, to help both of you go further.
Right.
Be understanding, but also be firm in explaining why they shouldn't be jealous. Try showing more affection to them, to calm their fears about it. But I don't know if everyone's going to like my last tip, but my last tip is, hey, if you're not married and the jealous behavior, the unhealthy jealous pattern continues, and it seems like you guys can't have healthy conversations about it, it's not being addressed, it's not being fixed, then dip. Break up.
Dip.
Because that is not healthy.
Yeah.
Period. It's not healthy.
If like I said, if you cannot sit down and talk about some of the issues that are in your relationship, it's pointless. Where are you going to go? If you can't have healthy conversation about your relationship, how are you going to address those issues? How are you going to move forward? How are you going to work on it? How are you going to improve on it? It's going to be a constant cycle of you dealing with somebody's insecurities because of what they're dealing with internally, right? So if you are the person who is jealous, how about talking to your partner on how they can help you with overcoming these issues?
Right.
And pray.
Right. And always pray.
Right. So, y'all, we cannot normalize these behaviors. No, absolutely not.
And I'm saying break up in the sense where it's not getting better. You're trying.
Yeah.
You've tried, and the person, it just has an unhealthy pattern of behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
If your relationship seems to be growing apart, meaning things are not what they used to be, do you think it's best to let go, or do you still try to fix it? Especially if it's been an ongoing thing. That's what someone in the One Love Nation asked.
Right. I think everything happens. Like for us, or for at least for me, I think everything happens with discussion. Right. It is seeing these things and not be like, man, she acting funny, I'm not even going to talk to her. And it's her like, I don't know what he's talking about. Like, I'm not talking to him. Right. It's more of seeing these things, and because you want your relationship to work and because you love your partner, how do we sit down and talk about what exactly it is? I'm feeling some type of way. Like, I don't feel the way I felt previously. Like, this is, and I love you and I want this to work, right? Remember we talked about the therapy technique about looking back, looking forward. What is it that attracted you to your partner, right? What is it that you found attractive from the get-go? If it was something that, hey, he was somebody who was trustworthy and he was a protector and he cared about your needs and your wants and all those, do you still see that same person today, right? And if you don't, do you think that you ever be able to see that person like that? Right?
Yeah.
What can that person do to help you to change or to get that back?
Right.
Right. I think there's so many discussions that we can be having with our partners in our relationships, and we don't take the necessary opportunities to do that because we allow pride to get in the way.
Yeah. Healthy communication. We say it. I think we've mentioned it on every answer.
We cannot.
Healthy communication is so important. I think before we go further with the answer, we should say maybe we need to separate married versus unmarried, which we will always do because it's just a fact that married is a bond that a dating relationship doesn't have to worry about. So marriage is something where we're always going to say pray. We're always going to say try harder. Find counseling, find the solution. You are bound to this person. You made a covenant under God. Let's fix the problem. Right. So that should always be the first go-to. It'll always be our first go-to answer because marriage, we take marriage seriously.
Very seriously.
So in that regard, if you're going apart in a marriage, stop, identify the issue, get it fixed. Now, if you're unmarried, I think there's a little bit of different perspective because I feel like I feel like I answered a previous question and said break up. And I hate to sound so negative twice in an episode, but you are not tied to this person.
You're not obligated to stay.
Bottom line, you have freedom. And so what you're experiencing might be a sign to cut ties. I mean, still pray about it, still weigh the pros and cons, but I just want to emphasize that when you are unmarried, there shouldn't be this immense feeling of, I have to make this work, because you don't.
You don't.
There is no covenant under God. So don't ignore signs of a dead relationship. But if you've identified the problem, you're communicating, and you want to fix it, I think that we can walk through some ways of finding the issue and then growing together again. So you could be like, what's her name? Marie Kondo. Does this person spark joy? No, I'm just joking. Don't do that.
Why not?
Does this person spark joy in your life? No. I mean, it's not going to be that simple as picking up an item in your house and asking you that question. Right. But I still think you should think about that. Do you like this person? Like, love is one thing, but do you like them? Do you see a future with them? Why are you feeling like you're growing apart? Find that reason.
Right. Is it that this person used to be more affectionate, used to take home flowers, used to make sure that you're good, check up on you, text you in the daytime? Like, what is it that your partner is not doing that they used to do before, or that allowed you to feel that they're not performing what they used to perform? Right.
And are you feeling as if leaving is an option because you don't see a future with them, or are you staying because you're just trying to keep the peace and avoid the mess of a breakup? There's lots of, I think, questions. Over. Right, or you're afraid of starting over. There's lots of questions to ask yourself to identify, what is this reason why I don't feel as close? And is it something that I want to put the time in to save, or can it be saved? I also want to say that I can't say that this is like a hard and fast rule. It's just my personal opinion. If you're in that state, because the person said it's been an ongoing thing. And for me, if you're in this state of, you're dating, mind you, dating, unmarried, and you're in this stage of, I don't know, are we coming? Are we going? Are we together? Are we going to work? Right. I don't know if things are working. And you're in that phase for 10 months, 11 months, over a year. I think that it's like, okay, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to let go, because when you go through that process for too long of a time, it can wear away at the foundation of the relationship. And like you said, looking back at what this person was to you in the past, you lose sense of that when you're in this stage for an extended period of time. Yeah. So you might want to just look at everything and say, you know what, it might be healthy or for both of us to walk away.
And I think we have to make sure that we're verbalizing these things, because sometimes we could be feeling some way and our partner is like head over heels. He is in love. He don't see what is going on. She don't see what is going on. She don't see no problems.
Perfectly fine. Exactly.
Right. They think it's his perfect.
That's why you have to communicate. When you feel something, tell your partner, oh, hey, I'm in the danger zone. I'm feeling empty, I'm not feeling loved, I have a problem. Because if you let that go on, that's when you have these. Girl. Yeah. So I think our tips are: create a list of pros and cons. Ask yourself serious questions like, are you physically unsafe in the relationship? Because then that's a whole nother ball game. But are your dreams or plans unsafe? Does your partner make you feel inadequate? Are your needs being met? And have you tried everything to save it? And depending on the answers to that, I think you'll be, and of course, once again, prayer, you will be led to the right option. Yeah. And I'm sorry if you're going through that. I know it doesn't feel good to be stuck in a place of, is this gonna work? Should I leave? Should I stay? It's not a good place to feel. It's not a good place to be. So I hope that if you're out there in the One Love Nation and you're struggling with that, please pray about it. Ask yourself the questions. Do the work.
Right.
How do you have a conversation about sex with someone you see yourself with long term without it getting raunchy or heading into that direction? And, in the past, we have encouraged people to have these conversations.
We show have.
Before marriage. So this person is asking, how do you do that without it, getting raunchy?
I think when it comes to like waiting, and when it comes to discussing celibacy and being able to be celibate and still having these conversations, I think a lot of people are having like an imbalance and they're trying to find a balance, right? We've always encouraged people to find someone who is on the same page as you are, right? So they are abstaining just the same. They understand why it's important for you guys to abstain or be celibate, whichever word you want to call it. Okay,
right.
cool. Right? When they understand that, right? And I think when they understand, okay, let's have this discussion, they know it's not coming from a place where, ooh, yo, we want to talk about sex. Okay, all right, maybe. No, it's coming from a like a, what do you call it? Like a place, right? Where I am saying, I think that we're going to get serious, and because we're getting to that place, we need to talk about these things. We need to talk about the likes and dislikes. We need to talk about, hey, are you expecting this? Are you into this? Are you into that? I think we don't have enough transparent conversations, and I think that's why there's a lot of like, oh, I didn't know you were into that. I think there's a lot of things that can be avoided, right? If we have those discussions.
Yeah, I think by this question, I think the person is saying that they're pretty much getting into the specifics of, details of sex, which makes me feel like that's a later conversation. So early on, I think the sexual conversation is what your boundaries are, where you are, whether or not you're celibate, etc. That's the early conversation.
Right.
So by the time you are worried about the deep content or it going, and going completely wrong or south or getting raunchy or inappropriate, then I think you're talking about like some real heavy detail stuff. So I'm thinking it's later on, like you're committed to this person and now you want to know more to make the marriage choice. So for me, I don't think that if your timing is right, I don't think you have to worry about that part of it, because you already know that you're on the same path and you're doing this in an informational way. However, if things do turn that way, or let's say, see, the word raunchy is so specific, okay? So for me, that sounds like immature, kind of a thing. So if it does go that way, I think that's a red flag. Yeah. And it might mean the person is really not on the path with you that you thought they were on. But if it just gets, or, on the contrary, if you're just saying that it kind of gets hot and heavy in a lust type of way, then, okay, maybe you need to address it in a different way, or do it in little bits and pieces so that it doesn't get too hot and heavy raunchy with your intentions, right? Or raunchy, as you put it. But if that's happening, it's either too early or it's a red flag, I think.
Right. And I think also you have the power to say, hey, let's just like redirect. Okay, you probably getting a little bit excited. Let's just like chill out, calm down. Or let's say, hey, let's have this discussion another time. Or let's start, even if your partner forgets the boundaries, revisit the boundaries that you guys set before.
Yeah.
And talk about, hey, remember why we're doing this. It's not necessarily because, we just want to just wait until after marriage.
Yeah.
It's legit because there's a relationship with God and you're honoring God. And I think when your partner understands that and you're on the same page, it just makes it more easier, right? I think we go into these different situations with people who are not necessarily, who don't understand our vision and don't understand why we do the things that we do. Right. And we expect them to live up to these things, but they don't understand. They're not about it. So we can't expect them to have the same expectations that we have.
They're not on the same path.
We're not on the same path.
And if you're asking about how do you, as in literally, how do you bring it up, then you just gotta jump right in and say what it is. Like, you just have to say, hey, this is a concern of mine, and I think it's really healthy relationship behavior for us to discuss this.
True that.
Just bring it up.
Gems.
Girl or guy, just bring it up.
Yeah. Right.
You gotta attack it head on, because what's not gonna change is our opinion that you should talk about it, because we think you should.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Get it done.
True that. It's always, I always thought about like, oh, how do you approach this? But it's, I think even if you have to schedule to be like, hey, so we're talking about what our future. Yeah. How about we discuss today? Let's talk about like our sexual expectations.
Yeah.
That could be something that's like that can weigh heavily on our marriages. You see a lot of people talking about, yo, you don't give me enough. Oh, you don't give me enough.
Right.
And I think that if we talk about these things, and we see so many different couples like talk about the struggles of like sexual, pleasures and what have you, I think that we can also learn from others. Be like, oh, this is probably something we need to discuss because I ain't about that life.
Right, I don't have those
I'm not
problems.
built for that. Right.
Yeah, you should feel comfortable talking to them about it.
Yeah.
What's the next question, friend?
The next one is it okay to go on a friendly date with your ex? Or if your partner is still friends with your ex, how would that make you feel?
Okay, next question. Why would you? Why? Okay. We both did the same thing. Why would they ask us this, friend?
Okay.
Do you know why Arinthia and I we both personally struggle with this concept of, okay, this is what happens, right?
I think you struggle with it more than I do.
You think so?
Maybe. Okay, let's hold up. Go ahead.
Okay. there's an area that's really close to this question, right? Which is like hanging out with the opposite sex while you're in a relationship. And you and I have male best friends, and so this is always like a real interesting topic for us, because we're like, hey, now wait a second. We have male best friends. We spend time with them, but
so we can't have biases when it comes to that, right?
But the bottom line is that everything has to be done with respect.
Yes,
with respectfulness. Like to your partner. Like you have to know where they stand on that.
Yes.
And so, is it okay to go on a friendly date with your ex? I mean, if you're friends with your ex, I don't see a problem with that.
Right.
Maintaining a friendship. We say people are in your life for a season or for a particular reason. Once you discover that reason and you're not in a romantic relationship now, does that mean you can't be their friend? Of course not. But if you're in a relationship with someone new, then obviously there has to be boundaries that you guys have agreed upon, and it all needs to be respectful interactions. So when you say friendly date, I mean, I personally discourage you, like, you know what I'm saying? Like spending a late evening dinner and intimate time alone with that person, or maybe you have an agreement with your partner or spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend that you don't spend alone time with the opposite sex. I mean, I don't know what you're gonna work out with your person, but whatever you have worked out needs to be specific boundaries about that. How would I feel if my partner was still friends with their ex? I'm okay with that because I have one relationship. It's only worked one time. Yeah. But I'm friends with an ex, and I get it. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't have a problem with them being friends. Now, there has to be a respectful interaction between him and his ex, though.
Facts. I agree. 100%. I think the only thing I'm going to say about this topic is I think we share the same view in terms of, like, if your ex does not respect your relationship, you probably need to evaluate what is more important to me. Is my relationship more important, or is the friendship with my ex more important? That's what you have to decide for yourself. And also, how does your current partner feel about you hanging out with your ex? Is he like, yeah, I'm straight, or is she like, yeah, that's okay? Or you got to figure out how they feel about that. One thing I would say about this, though, is sometimes we tend to, because of the intimacy that we share, and I'm not talking about sexually, but because of like the experiences that we share, sometimes we tend to want to keep a person in our lives, and sometimes we have to be careful of like the message that we're sending, because not only is it like not good for our emotional well-being sometimes, but I think also sometimes it can prevent us from moving into the direction that God wants us to go in, because we're so hell-bent on keeping this person in our lives. And so because they're holding this spot that somebody else is supposed to be, God is trying to make provision for you to do something else, but because you're still stuck on this one person, you are holding up that blessing because you're not ready to let go of this one thing. So just be careful on what is the relationship status. is there a clear understanding that you guys are completely friends? There's no ulterior motive.
I was just going to say that.
Right.
The motive of both parties.
Right.
Because you might just be like, oh, yeah, we're just chilling.
Somebody else has a whole different thing.
But your ex is not just chilling.
Yeah.
He's using that as, he or she might be using it as a way.
Oh, like, yeah, I'm going to get back her.
And now your partner is feeling like, wait. I mean, and I've also had guys that are like, no, I don't want you talking to your ex. Like there's no, no.
There's no
so there's people out there that are like, oh, no, I don't see why you need to be talking to them.
Yeah.
I mean.
Hey, like we said, what works for you works for you.
Right. You find what works with your partner. But,
right.
But yeah, motive, I like what you said. Because motive is important.
Absolutely.
What do you think about open relationships?
What do I like? Am I giving my personal opinion on what, or just you know what?
Your personal opinion about open relationships. Well, first, I guess let's define it. I mean, I think everyone knows, but let's define what we're answering.
So open relationship. I mean, it comes in various forms. I feel like some people are like two people are exclusively dating, but they will invite other people into their relationship and make it either like a polyamorous relationship in a sense. Some people are just like free spirited, so you're dating this person but you're not exclusive, but you're still dating other people as well. So I feel like it comes in various forms. Do I believe in it? Absolutely not. No, I don't believe in it.
That's very clear,
right?
Yes.
And also spiritually it's wrong. Spiritually it's wrong. And I feel like, you know what I've realized is that a lot of times we feel like today, I feel like Christians sometimes, I watched this this video, and I feel like because some people are successful that they kind of like sugarcoat the truth in like, they don't want to be direct. They'll rather say, I'm evolving when it comes to that thought process. Even when the Bible clearly says that it's wrong.
Right.
I'm evolving. What are you evolving to? Anyways, no, guys, I believe that it's wrong. I feel like we have to honor the word of God, and I feel like no,
right.
We're supposed to have one partner. That's what it is. Just remember, if you're in an open relationship, right, you're not tracking what everybody else does, right? Remember, I talk about sexual partners here.
Yeah.
So you are talking to Tyrone is talking to Shaquisha is talking to Montreal. It's just a whole cycle. Like, I don't think it's spiritually unhealthy, but also like medically, no. That's not good for your health. Like, you can't be like, health wise, can't be out here just having people just random hookups. No, that's
Okay, well, I don't know, polyamory and open relationships, it's, they're buzzwords today, things that people are really doing.
That is true though.
Yeah, they really are. Now, but it can be very structured, unlike what you just said. Like, it can be like, we both have to approve the person, or I have to know who it is. I have to meet them, or maybe I don't meet them, but I have to know what you did with them. Like, people are very ordered. They can be very ordered and structured about
it's like a little bit of confusion.
I mean, I think it's confusion. I'm going to answer it from a personal perspective and then from
a spiritual.
Okay. So personally, I don't like to share.
Personally?
She
don't like to share.
Yeah, like I don't have time. No. Now, this is different than dating multiple people. You know what I'm saying? Like, remember how when we were talking about dating, and getting to know people, that I believe it's okay to talk to multiple people, to date one person on Tuesday, go on another day on Thursday, and, do it all at once, and, what's it called? Narrow it down, whatever. That's different. Not
exclusively dating, though.
Exactly.
Right.
For me, we are in a relationship, and you or I want to still see other people. I can't deal. Like, I personally cannot. I don't like sharing, and I'm a little jealous, and all of your extra time is mine. Like, I don't want to share. No.
Okay. So we heard our personal view.
Yes. No, thank you. It's not for me. Now, I guess spiritually, I think it's dangerous that way. And if you are being in sexual relationships with all those partners. And I agree with you. It's sexually and health wise, it's just unhealthy and unsafe. But even if you're not, I still feel like, what's your goal here? You know, are you perpetually, you're just going to do that forever? And then don't get me started on like an open marriage. That definitely isn't what God has prescribed for us as far as being with, being united with your mate and then having another party. The only third party in your marriage is God, not, other people.
Do you feel like those people who invite people, do you think they will ever be satisfied with their partners? Because, I mean, technically, it could be an issue where they're just not satisfied with the partner that they have, and they're like, well, I need something else to spice it up. Should that be the person that they settle down with, though, if they have to go outside of...
Well, do we prescribe to the belief that a person can be 100% of what you need? No, we don't. I don't. But there's that whole 80-20 rule, but that doesn't mean you can like get 40% from Mark and 30% from John and then look for someone else. Like I don't think so, and I don't think it's healthy.
I mean, I do believe that there is no one that has 100% what you're looking for, but I think that the parts that you do feel like, yes, it is worth settling down with that person to build, I think that should suffice for the missing parts. Exactly. But that probably is not the thought process for people who are in polyamorous relationships. Mm-hmm. I want to know the thought process. I'm curious. I really am.
I mean, it's really promoted as like new age and
new age.
You know what I'm saying? Like we've evolved into people that understand that I simply cannot be everything she needs. That's how I hear it when they talk about it. But I think as Christians, I definitely don't think that that's the goal in our love lives or in our marriages. I don't think that's the goal. So that's what I personally think about them. That's what I personally think about open relationships. I don't know. Polyamory is it's interesting and very odd to me. But hey, we're all God's children, and I love them. I'm not judging someone who chooses polyamory as a lifestyle. I'm simply saying that as a Christian, I don't want to pursue it. I don't believe it's what God has designed for my love life or
as marriage. Christians, we can't subscribe to it either.
Right.
But do we love the individuals? Of course. But the act, the sin, we don't support.
I don't understand it.
I definitely don't understand it. That's first. Hey.
So that's our take on open relationships. Thanks for challenging us. Yes. Oh my goodness.
Next question. Friend, after dating for how long should you consider lending money to your partner? What precautions should you take?
Ooh, the money question. Okay, so this is a touchy subject, right? But I actually think you shouldn't merge finances for sure. While dating. And then as far as lending money, I don't think you should do it too early in a relationship. I also feel like you shouldn't feel that comfortable asking, too early in a relationship. And it's not about being the weird. Right. It's not about being the man or the woman. It's just I don't know. It's strange so early in a relationship. And I think if you decide to do so, you should follow the rule that, that unwritten rule that's out there with your friends as well, is never give someone more money than you're prepared to never get back, kind of a thing, I know that we're supposed to trust our partners and be able to trust them, but money kind of complicates things, right? And it can cause resentment when things don't go the way that they're supposed to go. So I'm not saying that I wouldn't do it, but I think the precautions to take is not to do it too early, to monitor the amount that you're doing, and to really make sure you understand, what's happening and why they need it. And I don't know. I'm more willing to gift something than, someone who's constantly oh, hey, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. I don't know. Everyone has to do it on their own kind of, what do you call that? they have to determine for themselves. But I think it is a little dangerous too early on.
Yeah. If it's too early, I'm going to look at you weird. Unless it's like it's an emergency, I'm like, okay, I understand that. But to come and ask me, hey, can I borrow like a couple $100 until I get paid on Friday? Just don't sound right. And I also feel like, for me, I honestly feel very weird. And I have I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I do have a bad habit of lending money. I do. I'm not even going to lie to you.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to get out of that. Honestly, I want to, just because I feel as if I feel as if I can get too comfortable, and I don't want to. Like you said, like, don't lend out money that you are going to probably miss if you don't get it back. And trust me, I've lent money that I probably miss if I didn't get it back. But also too, I feel like people have created this awkward thing of you saying, hey, can I borrow $500 until Friday? And then 3 Fridays pass and you haven't heard anything about your $500. But at the same time, you're not a person who likes to go back and ask back for your $500. And so you have to wait, and you haven't said anything to the other person about the money you borrowed. And it just creates a weird atmosphere, weird energy that I don't like. So I feel like if you're going to... No, I feel like we should just all be considerate and just feel like, I don't know. Dating is very weird to ask for money. Unless you have been dating for a very long time. But yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't advise anyone who is dating to have joint account. I feel like all of that should come when you're married. Lending money is very tricky. You know what I mean? Money is very tricky. I just feel like you should do whatever makes you comfortable. There's no right or wrong answer to this. I would advise you not to, but there's no right or wrong answer to... Yeah.
Right. My fear is not protecting either that new relationship or your relationship, because, and really being careful that you don't overextend yourself in what you lend out, because like True. I said, so often things don't go the way they're supposed to. And then all of a sudden you've overextended yourself. You're in trouble. Now there's resentment. Now there's, it's real touchy with money, very touchy. Is. So be really careful about what you decide in that area. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Hope you enjoyed the little refresher on some of the questions you sent in that we really enjoyed answering. Keep sending them in. There will be more Love Zone weeks. There will be more relationship Q&As. And we can't thank you enough, One Love Nation, for this milestone of our 75th episode. We're on the way. We're getting so close to 2 years. And we love and appreciate each and every one of you. A la próxima vez. Gracias por escuchar. Peace.
Hey, One Love Nation. Thanks for listening to the One Love, One Faith podcast. We love our listeners, and we hope you will join us again next week. Please share the One Love, One Faith podcast, and always remember that each day is an opportunity to show His love and grow your faith.